What's up, collective? How's it going? This one is our first ever Talk It Out Tuesday, and every week I'm going to change topics to just pick something to talk about, like old times. I'm going to do a couple tonight. This one is, what does Jesus's crucifixion and your life today have to do with Lent? Like, what can the crucifixion of Jesus teach you about the steps of Lent? And whether you believe in Jesus or not, that doesn't matter. I'm just using the resurrection story to help you pinpoint what this season is really all about. So let's get right into it. I broke this down to, I believe it was 3 stages. My throat chakra just closed. So I'm going to talk about the crucifixion and then what Lent was for and what you're supposed to interpret this time as. So step 1 is Jesus made a choice. A choice is made. We all have a choice in what we choose to believe and what morals we will live by. That is always your choice, as it was Jesus's. Jesus decided in a world of darkness that he would bring light to earth and give souls a resting place so they may know peace and on earth and in death. But he knew this choice would come with great sacrifices, great adversity, and great pain. He could have skipped it all. So look at the aspect of Jesus, and what that means is he had the power to stop it all and just make it all go away so he didn't have to feel any of it. But by letting it play out is ultimately what opened everybody's empathy, opened the gates of heaven, opened us to the light to stop being so dark. So what does this have to do with our Lent and our experience with Lent? What choices can you make to be a better person to yourself, your family, and the world? Like Jesus made a choice. His actions would ultimately serve the greater good of all of humankind and what he wanted for himself. Do you have the conviction of Jesus in your own life and with your own soul? Whether you believe in Jesus or not, which I'm not, I accept everybody here. I support many religions. I believe in a higher power, and I'm just leaving it at that. I don't like labels. But look at the conviction Jesus had in making the world and death better for everyone. What in your life is making everything better for everyone, including yourself? So, step 2, implementing his vision. So, Jesus made a choice, and he was going to pick the light. He picked the light. He picked the higher purpose of mankind. So now it was time for him to implement that. He spoke even when no one wanted to hear or refused to listen, or when they tried to silence him or hurt him. Even if he lost things or was casted out, he spoke from his heart, and wherever he went, he lived by his purpose. He went hungry and without shelter, and he was beaten, spit at, and people rose against him and threw food at him most places Jesus went. But as hard as it was, Jesus found people who were kind and open to change and shared his vision and purpose. And he built a family and a community even in his lowest points. They all lived and survived and worked together. So what are we supposed to take from Lent and this lesson Jesus had in this experience? Are you someone who supports your people and family and community like Jesus did? Do you stand together when times are tough, or do you all go to your corners? Do you fight and cast blame? Do you step up to lead? How strong are your beliefs? Do you stand firm despite all adversity and keep prevailing? I can't read my own scratch. Do you keep prevailing, or do you waver to appease the masses? In your life and home and community, are you a heckler or a disciple? And how do you help your society and family and self grow into the future? So no matter what Jesus had, he shared. Are you a sharer? Are you a giver? Do you care about your neighbor? Do you care about your community? Do you participate? Do you know the people? Do you take time to smile at people and look them in the eye? These are all things that Jesus did in a time where people didn't think to do that. And that's a lot like today, when we're all down in our phones or up in our head about things. We shut the world off around us and we're losing our empathy. So what a great way this Lent to start implementing the way Jesus was with his community, his loved ones. All right, number 3, facing the backlash of those in power as the little force. We all know Jesus as this mighty king that he is, but in his life, he was facing people that had power on earth and more than him. The world and society hunted Jesus and worked to eradicate all he tried to do and implement. They held the trial where they told what Jesus did to everybody, but Jesus never got a defense. He was ordered to death, and people cheered in the streets and threw stones and watched him be tortured. Jesus was silent. He casted no stones or mean or angry words. He asked for mercy and was shown none. He had the worst treatment of all humankind, and on his dying breath, he asked that all be pardoned that hurt him, and still he gave his life selfishly to open heaven. He could have eradicated the entire world. He could have willed it to stop at any point, and the hand of God would have struck them all who caused him any pain. But he took it. He walked on for the higher purpose of all humankind. So what other than the beautiful lesson of love and never giving up on us, even at our worst? How can we implement that? What are we supposed to take from Lent in our lives? When the dark taunts and tests and brings war, will you scream darkness back at darkness? Will you hit and throw rocks and draw blood from your wrath? Or will you stand up and endure all of it? Sorry, I think they're fixing something up there. Anyway, will you stand and endure all of it and make sure your people will have the best they can have? Can you be calm when all are mad? Do you feed into your anger and sin, or do you learn and grow and adapt from sin? Do you cast trial and judgment without defense of others? Do you celebrate loss in others? Can you empathize with those who have hurt and wronged you? Can you be so forgiving, even in the deepest of pain? Can love be your true testament in most of your days? How can you earn such a blessing of heaven while you're here on earth? That's what Lent is really about. Yes, we all make sacrifices. We all experience loss and pain and disappointment and adversity just like Jesus. But Jesus, to this day, was rare, and that he had this amazing ability to never get mad or unleash anger. We should all be like that.